I am Melanie. Welcome to my sanctuary. It's a very small space, very intimate space, but what I try to do is create a focal point in every corner. And if you can see this one, the orchids, old man's beard, which I love to use because I find that it can go from outside to inside. I use it a lot in my tablescapes. I don't use a lot of flowering plants. I have a few. But what I love is to use foliage with color and texture. I use a lot of creepers. Here you see an old wheelbarrow, and I use it now with Afro plant in it. Here we have a bed of bromeliads, which, believe it or not, started out with one row, but this garden has a mind of its own. So they've taken over this bed and I've just left them alone. With all the rain we've been having, I find that the garden is just bursting with energy. This is the cat whisker. It looks like a cat whisker, you see? A lot of my plants are what we know in Jamaica as wild and hardy plants. So I don't like things that take too much time and have to take a lot of tending to. Here we have oxalis and a Trinidad fir. If you see the contrast in color, the purple with the green and the blue bench, that's what I love to see. It gives the garden so much depth and personality. I find that my garden is my inspiration. I sit, have my coffee, drink a glass of wine. I grew up in Montego Bay where my grandparents were farmers. So plants and nature is very, very important to me. I love it. I love the fact that the garden has a mind of its own. This is the donkey tail. What is spectacular about the donkey tail is that if you break off a piece and stick it in the soil, it just grows on its own. And I love plants that send up shoots, or you can grow from clippings. This munda grass was just a small piece that I had put, and eventually it started to grow into its own pattern, so I've left it and used it as a border for the bed. But this was gifted to me by my parents years and years ago. They unearthed it in their own garden and gave it to me. Very special artifact as well. Here we have 2 bougainvillea plants I had planted in pots that grew up out of the pots and decided that they would form the most beautiful backdrop and frame to the house, to the entrance of the house. So many plants that were gifted to me by friends and family. This orchid was gifted to me by a very good friend, and when it blooms, it is almost 8 feet long. Plants grow where they feel like growing, and it's always the best spot.